Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please continue to pray for me by singing along, gesturing at your screen, and leaving a dislike on this video. Let's do it again. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Let's pray a few more times while I wait for people to show up. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy holidays, I guess. I am once again in a very torn situation, and this has been the theme of my every year. There seems to be one big theme of that year that is big and bad, like the the, um, the antagonist of the year. Antagonist of 2024 was obviously my loneliness, but 2025 is going to be big decisions to make. Here's what's going on. So, as you guys have been following, I recently got a new girlfriend, but it hasn't been all just good. There's been something very tricky. So, I had hoped to leave the Phoenix area. Before I met her, I was almost certain I was going to leave the Phoenix area. And now I got a big decision to make. And fortunately, her career is a lot more portable than mine. So, as long as she's okay with leaving Phoenix, I'm okay with it. Now, here's the thing the reason I wanted to leave Phoenix is kind of convoluted as well. Last year, we had 5 months of 110-degree weather, right? And during that time, I didn't have a girlfriend. I was all alone. I didn't have a whole lot of money either, and I got COVID-19 and a few other problems during that time. And that combination tore me apart. Not only that, but the rest of the world is very hostile to that kind of combination. I had just started recovering from COVID 19, and I went to my local grocery store. It's called Fry's, it's owned by Kroger's. I went to get some comfort food, including 5 or so bananas, and there's nowhere to sit down and eat it. It's 110 outside. Inside, I can't remember what day of the week it was. I don't think it might have been busy. I don't know. But I sat down on this mobility scooter to eat it, and the store security gave me a hard time. He asked me what I was doing, what I was up to. It said the scooters are for use in the store only, something like that. I explained to him that I'm very sick. I'll make it quick. And he did, and then I said I just recovered from COVID-19, and the only reason he ran was because he heard the words COVID-19. Right? Had I not said that, had I just said that I'm very ill or just recovered from something else, right? That might not affect him. Maybe that I just gotten chemotherapy, or had I have a coworker who's a type 1 diabetic. Maybe I had a like low blood sugar. Had I said anything like that, that wouldn't affect him. He probably wouldn't have shown any sympathy at all, right? And that hurt more so than the illness and the 110-degree weather. The fact that he treated me like that hurt more than anything else. If it weren't for situations like that, I probably wouldn't even think about dating. When I was 25 years old, I lived with my parents. I took my first job in the corporate world. I lived with my parents, and the thought of dating and marriage never crossed my mind. I was happily married to myself. It's easy to do that when you got people to share the bills with, and your dinner is cooked for you half the time. It's easy to be happily married to yourself in those circumstances, right? And I really loved it. I would have never thought about dating at the time. I mean, if you don't believe me, you can ask my parents. I never dated when I lived under their roof. It was only outside of their roof that I would even consider dating, both when I was working on my PhD and after I finally moved out, right? And I uh, I don't think I need to tell you guys that over the last 4 years since Let's Go Brandon, our car insurance bills have hyperinflated. right? And so what really hurts is that my last car accident was in 2016, and I was daydreaming while I was driving, and I didn't realize traffic in front of us had slowed down. Got into an accident. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. And what was seems you require no, I don't. I'm trying to get my friend to join the okay. So, anyways, my accident had just fallen off my report when the car insurance started to skyrocket. So I only got to enjoy 1 year of that really low rate, and it really hurts. And last August, just as I was recovering from COVID-19 in the heat wave, I get the bill, and it's even higher than I had paid in February. And so that's when I swore I had to return to the dating world. And I I think when I started trying to ask various people out on dates, I looked very desperate, and it probably turned a lot of people off. But I really was desperate. I had just dealt with COVID-19 while ill, while hot, and I was just dealing with all the pressures of having a professional life with nobody to cooking dinner at home and taking turns cooking dinner for me. And I had just dealt with a lot. And yes, I looked desperate because I really was desperate. And it doesn't help that I don't have a whole lot of money either, right? If I did and I could eat out every day, maybe I could take some time away from cooking, eat out more while I try to look for that life partner. That could have taken some of that edge off, right? Unfortunately, I don't have that either, right? And so, yeah, I did kind of look desperate. And unfortunately, society is kind of brutal to people in those kind of circumstances. What I should have done when I was 25 years old, when I was living with my parents, was that even though I didn't want to date at that time, I should have gotten ahead of the curve. I didn't really think too far. To give you an idea of what happened when I first moved out, I was working for a technology startup in New York City, and I was the only one of the few employees who was single there. I was 27 years old. One night, I had stayed behind to do this really something really challenging, and I finally solved the problem. It was 9:30, and I was really depressed because I was the only one in the office, and I finally solved this big problem that had perplexed my boss for days. And so I was the only one there. I jumped up and down at my desk to celebrate, and nobody was there to celebrate with me. And that was one of the loneliest celebrations I ever had. I left the building and I boarded the subway train, and only then did it hit me. Oh my God, there's nobody at home to cook dinner for me. What am I gonna do? Fortunately, I was making good money at the time, but it was still at 27 years old. The first time I realized that when I'm single, I have to cook every meal for myself. I didn't realize that because I was living with my parents until very recently. I mean, I did work on my PhD, but at the time, very seldom did I not have time for myself, right? And I dated a little bit when I was working on my PhD as well, right? I did have some relationships where we were cooking for each other, so I felt really stupid. Almost old enough to run for president, but not old enough to realize I have to cook for myself. It just felt really stupid, right? Stupid. And all right, please continue to pray for me. It's kind of a tough call right now because it's December. I was swearing that I had to move out of Phoenix before the hot weather, but earlier today I get an email from my boss asking if I'd like in February that we're going to discuss about summer courses. He wants to see how I do with this one course. Yeah, like, gee, I do I want to tell him that I actually plan to leave Phoenix? I want to leave this option open too. So it's just really tricky. Not to mention, who knows where the direction I'm going to go with my girlfriend, right? But I hope my girlfriend and I will last at least until Valentine's Day because 2 years ago, yeah, 2 years ago, I had gone to a local restaurant here in the Scottsdale area alone on Valentine's Day, and I didn't get treated very well. And I got to go back there again with a girl, just to even the score. So please continue to pray that I make the right decisions with the job, with the relationships, with the city, and with lifestyle matters. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.